What's going on, Eurovoxxers? Hello, everybody. If you're tuning in this late, I know that it's late for pretty much everybody except for me, where it's only like 10 minutes to 7. But for both Dominic and Nerton, who are joining me from Germany and Malta, respectively, it's kind of late for you guys. But how are you doing?
I'm fine.
I'm fine as well.
I'm the odd one out in this case because both of you, I know, Nerton, you're in Malta, but both of you are German. None of us are Portuguese. However, I do speak a little bit of Portuguese. Estou bem fora de prática. So if there's anybody who are in the chat and if you want to send me a comment in Portuguese, I'll do my best to respond to it. But basically, I was saying I'm very out of practice. But let's say hello to Sarah O'Halloran, who is asking who made it. We'll get to that in just a moment. I'm wondering if Klavs has stuck around because I know it's even later in Latvia. Hello to Andy. There, Sarah. She has a new obsession. It's Gone the Dinosaur. I don't know who that is. Nonetheless, let's talk about these qualifiers. We saw 5 new qualifiers for Festival da Canção. They will be in the final, which will be next Friday. And do you guys have them, or should I read them off?
I have them. It's next Saturday, not Friday.
Oh, sorry. Next Saturday.
No worries. So Joanna, it's Carolina, it's Petro, it's Neve, and I have no idea how to pronounce it. EU Clyde?
Yeah, I think it's Euclides.
Euclides. There you go.
So the other thing that I have to mention is that my Portuguese is Brazilian style Portuguese. That's I've learned from Brazilian teachers. So I'm sure that if I really lean heavily into that accent, that people are going to notice. But nonetheless, Festival da Canção, it's a show that I really enjoyed. Nerton, tell me about how you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, it was like really great, the show, from the start to the end. It was a little bit too long, too stretchy, because like the songs were like coming so fast after each other, and then I think we just waited 2 hours for the results to come in, so that was a little bit tiring.
It's definitely a different pace, and yeah, especially watching it and not necessarily grasping everything that's going on. It makes it feel that much longer when you're waiting on the results, and there's a very long period of time for voting, and they do a lot of talking to the artists on multiple occasions as well. So it's not just like tidbits that you see in some other selections. It's all throughout the show. Dominic, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree about the long show. It was a bit too long in my opinion. It's like the very first time I have seen a voting started after 20 minutes after the last performance has happened. That's so weird because normally it's like even in the beginning of every performance or right after it. But then like, okay, that was like Neve was the last one, and then they were talking, and then after 20 minutes, like, oh, by the way, you can start now. And then the first recap came on. That was so weird. I really don't understand this, but anyway. And the voting was like for an hour, which is also pretty long. But it's good that they have time to vote. I mean, I've seen Melody Festival just before that, and it was like 5 minutes or something, and then the voting was done. So I definitely prefer this approach, like showing 7 or 8 recaps, take your time, and vote. So that's good. I kind of like that in a way.
Yeah, it's not one of those shows where like if you blink you'll miss the voting time. So it definitely has its benefits.
No toilet break.
no toilet break. So Magnivissimo, Jose has corrected you. In Portuguese, you lose the H and it's Ola. But okay, Emily Freeman saying my winner isn't from the semi; it's from semifinal 1, Team Valeria, and her song is Na Mais Profunda Saudade, which is that really, I don't know if you guys remember this from the first semifinal, but it's the really true straight up Fado song that if you've ever seen Fado performed, or if you've heard, we saw some of that at the Eurovision show in Portugal from 3 years ago. You really can't miss it, and I have to say, good choice for a winner. But let's talk about some of the performances that we saw tonight. Dominic, tell me about which one was your favorite.
Okay, honestly, my favorite was eliminated. Ariana, I love that performance. I loved her attitude, the dance moves, the voice. Everything was so great. So I was like, okay, a definite qualifier. And the thing about Festival da Canção is if I really like a song, it's in danger of not qualifying. That's like an issue. Like, honestly, same goes to, I have to read it out, like Graziella. She was also great. I love her
Yeah,
dance moves, her attitude, her stage presence. She was by herself and filling up all the staging. And I
giving
also
us some
like
cool moves, doing the
yeah. In the
I
beginning, I
really
was
love
like,
that.
yeah, in the beginning, I was like, what is she doing? Anyway, I like it. Go on, do it again. And she's doing it. And then in the end, I was just cheering for her. I really enjoyed that. So I don't know what happened there, to be honest.
Mm.
But I must say, if I'm too fast, just let me know. I really like Neve. I think he was great, even though it kind of reminds me of Ed Sheeran a bit, like Perfect. But it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's a great song. And I like the fact that an English song is in the final for Portugal. That's not a usual thing, you
Mhm.
know? And I also really enjoyed Euclides, the one I can't pronounce.
That
Even though I was a bit disappointed about his performance because he was sitting the whole time.
yeah.
I think you could have done so much more, and I hope that's going to change for the final. But the song is one of the strongest, I think. So I was very pleased seeing him qualifying.
I'm going to pick up on some of the things that you said, and also I'll get to you, Nerton, as well. But I want to just say hello and read some comments here. Lee Fern is saying the thing about Portugal is that we have to wait ages before the results are announced. But I have to say, RTP, you did amazing. What a semifinal! Absolutely amazing. Stephen Kendall is saying if Europe is in another Duncan ballad mood, Portugal may have a potential winner with Neve. I do see that this is an entry that's resonating a lot with the Eurovision crowd. I am curious about how this would land with the Portuguese crowd, because as you mentioned, Dominic, like not only do we rarely see English songs in the final of Festival da Canção, but like in terms of when they've ever been chosen to go to Eurovision, I think it's really only been one time in my memory, which was like in the mid 2000s. Correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously, there's lots of knowledge, lots of things that can very easily get mixed or confused. James Dawson agrees with you. Sad Graciela didn't get through. Valeria is one of my favorites to win the final too. Yes. Nerton, tell me about what were some of your favorite performances?
So my favorite performance was of Graziella as well. I
Oh.
think she did like Dominic said, at the first you were thinking like, what is she doing there? And then you're like, oh my God, okay, she's so into it. And like, you can feel that she's feeling it, the performance. And my other non-qualifier that I really like was Ariana. She was like, I like that she was like between English and Portuguese. And I like that it was so smooth going on.
She
Yes.
had a pretty good stage presence, I would say. Definitely, like if there was an award for stage presence, it would be all Graciela, because she was there by herself doing her thing with a really great song. Maybe a little bit too indie for the voters, or I'd be really curious to see how that fared with the jury. Nonetheless, this wasn't her year. We're all clearly fans of her, so that at least says something. And Dominic, you mentioned Euclides. Euclid. Yes. So he's
Euclides,
well.
maybe.
I'll go with the song name because it's a lot easier to say. Volteface. Probably my favorite song out of all of the ones that we saw tonight. But I agree with you. The fact that he was sitting down with this song that had like high energy, it didn't really sit very well. And I mean, there might have been a very specific reason as to why he was sitting down. But the thing that I'm thinking as a viewer without that context is that there needs to be a little bit of movement happening here. And if it's not with him, then it should be with something else. So yeah, that was a little bit of a miss for me, but I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, first I thought he had an injury or something.
Did
I really thought that something's gonna is wrong with him in terms of he's not able to move.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was my impression because otherwise, what's the point? Especially about sitting, because I think in general, if there's no effect, I mean, if it's part of the performance, then sitting is an ordinary thing. But if it's
mhm.
just him sitting and singing the song, it doesn't really make sense because I would say uh, standing is the better singing position in general. So it's like I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we saw that he was able to stand. So I mean,
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
better not to, come up with some kind of rumor.
No,
Magnivissimo says that he really liked Pedro's song. Why does every sax player at ESC need to wear sunglasses? Pedro, we should mention, it was one of the open call winners. The majority of artists that go to Festival da Canção are invited by the broadcaster, but he was one of two. The other was Miguel Marocco, who had the song Girasol in the previous semifinal. Lots of fans of this one, and now he's gone on to the final. I can see why, because this is another one of those 80s inspired pop songs. Nerton, what did you feel about Pedro's song?
I think like in the recap, for me, it was standing out like more than the other songs. The other were like a little bit slow, and this song was like just, it was there and just poppy and catchy, and the saxophone was really good at the end. I really enjoyed it.
And you, Dominic?
yeah, I would maybe call it the Portuguese like Malawi. I had this kind of vibe. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. It was different. It was not a ballad, which is a good thing for Portugal because they seem to have a ballad heavy competition in general. And yeah, I like the ritual style. I like the saxophone. It was different. I really enjoyed that.
Tom Stevenson says that Joanna was his favorite tonight. Performance was completely elevated. Would give an honorable mention to Neve. We did kind of mention Neve already. Maybe we should we should kind of elaborate on that as well, because it is something that I think the wider Eurovision audience is appreciating. Wow, I have no excuse because it's not that late here, but I'm really struggling to speak. So, Nerton, do you see Neve as a potential winner?
Yes, from my opinion, but I'm not so sure about the Portuguese because I think like they would choose something like more Portuguese than English, like in the future we saw.
It's funny because it's almost like I feel like one of the reasons why this is working so well with the Eurovision fans is the fact that it's in English. But we also know that the widely accepted opinion is, why does everybody send songs in English? Send songs in your native language. Lots of love for Graziella as well. Graziella was robbed.
Yeah, thank you.
Who else can we talk about here? Carolina as well. Her song "Porum Tris" was quite a slow one. That was the one that was in black and white. Dominic, what did you think of her performance?
Honestly, not my thing.
No,
I honestly forgot about her, especially because of the running order, because Graciela was after her. And then I honestly forgot her. I mean, good for her. I remember that now that her vocals were quite good, but I was missing some kind of progression and it was pretty monotone. And if you're not able to understand her lyrics, then it's kind of gets boring, I think. I can imagine that the lyrics has a huge impact in terms of the song. So it's way more convenient or like convincing, that's the word. Convincing if you understand the lyrics. But as a non-Portuguese speaker, it's like, okay. The black and white thing is the only thing I can really remember.
Okay, fair enough. Nerton, how did you feel about Carolina?
For me, it was the complete opposite.
Oh.
For me, it was like very calming, and I could listen to it like when bad weather is outside, and I just want to sit at home and drink my hot chocolate and listen to this music. Like it was very calming and like relaxing for me, and I quite enjoyed it.
The one thing that I know you can always count on when it comes to Festival da Canção is a vibe. There are always tons of songs that will give you that calming vibe, and often they are ballads. But thinking about last year, I think one of my favorites was Disso by Cadi, which was had a little bit of an R&B beat to it, and lyrically quite fascinating. Had this kind of like romantic feel to it as well, even though it wasn't necessarily what the song was about. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I know that this isn't necessarily like the selection for Euro fans, because a lot of the songs are really understated. For people like myself, that's kind of one of the reasons why I like it, because Portugal does their own thing. James Dawson saying Carolina's styling wasn't my favorite, but he enjoyed her performance. Emily Freeman loved these. It had like a beachy vibe. And I remember you saying something along those lines as well, Dominic. Jose is saying Carolina does lots of collabs with hip hop artists and she's known for her quality ballads. She's also a jury in The Voice Kids. Oh, very interesting. Okay. So anyway, it's pretty late. We just wanted to kind of check in with you guys and get your thoughts on the qualifiers. We're going to be doing another video for the final leading up to it, where we discuss all of the 10 entries that are included in Festival da Canção this year. So be sure to subscribe to Eurovoxx if you want to see some of that. We've got lots more videos for the national selections that are coming. We are coming to the end of the national selection season, but we know that we can expect lots of internally selected songs to come out. Some of them we don't even know when to expect them. They're just going to drop, and we'll have to get our videos together. But we would love for you guys to subscribe to Eurovoxx so you can let us know what you think. We don't even have half of them yet. I think now we're probably at like 14 or 15. 14, yeah. So we'd love for you guys to share your thoughts on the entries and who could be representing Portugal, who could be representing Sweden and Denmark. I'm probably missing one. Estonia as well. We will find out that next Saturday. And don't forget to follow us on our socials at Eurovoxx, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our website is eurovoxx.tv, and we will see you guys on the next video. Take care.